Hello and welcome everyone to the course Industrial Robotics and Automation. We'll continue with the PLC part of the module. Okay. In the PLCs, today we'll start with the ladder logic uh, diagrams. Okay. Those of you who all are attending the class, you all can actually just take a pen and paper. Okay. We'll be requiring that with the in the later stage of the class today. We'll after studying how are the some of what the basic elements of the PLCs, we'll be actually just try to draw the diagram, okay, the ladder logic diagram for a particular type of problems. Okay, fine. So what you see on your screen is that this is a very simple run, okay, of logic from a PLC program. I told you if you talk about the uh, ladder logic or a ladder diagram, I told you it is in the form of a ladder in which every part connecting to the left and the right line is known as your rung. Fine. So what you see here is a very simple rung, okay, and this rung is actually defining one logic. What is the logic in this? The logic is that if the start button is on, then the motor is on. Fine. And if the start button is off, then the motor will turn off. This is one of the simplest logic that you can make in a PLC program, okay, using the ladder diagram. Fine. Now let us take some more examples. Fine. So what are these symbols? The first instruction, okay, it is known as XIC instruction. What is XIC? It says examine if closed. Fine. So that means right now it is open, just like your normally if you just compare or draw analogy to your valve. Okay, you had a normally closed valve, you had a normally open valve. Okay, similarly you had a normally closed switch, normally open switch. Okay, or your make type of switches, break type of switches. Okay, what was your make switches? For example, initially the switch was open and the moment it was energized, it made the circuit, right? So similar is the case here. So this is basically make type of switches. Okay, so the moment you have any input coming out from the your any of the sensors or any switch, for example, okay, so when you are pressing that, okay, then this will get closed, okay, and this will make the circuit, and hence this will come and energize this output here. Fine. So this is known as in the PLC naming analogy, it is known as your XIC instruction, that is examine if closed. Fine. So in this example, if the actual start button is on, why the word actual here? It is in italics. Actual means you will be having a physical start button which is actually connected to your input module. Fine. So when you are pressing that push button here, okay, the signal is getting conveyed, okay, and your the voltage or the current, whatever rating, is coming into the input module, okay, and from there onwards the PLC processor takes it through the ladder diagram. Okay, so that means when you press the actual start button, then what would happen? The value of all the XICs named start button. Why is it saying the value of all the XICs? That means it may happen that this start button is placed in this run, say in the 4th or the 5th rung, or in the 20th rung, or say suppose the 31 or the 32nd rung. Okay, there you may again have this start button. Okay, so all these start button, okay, connected to this your XIC instruction, they will all be true. Okay, and hence they would energize the output that is associated with this start button. Okay, so that means the XIC's name start button in the program will be true, or you can say it will be closed, or you can say the value will switch from 0 to 1. Fine. And if the start button is off, that means it is not on, then the value of the start button XICs, okay, that is examine if closed buttons, will be false. You also say it will be 0, or the circuit would remain open. Fine. So these instructions are known as your XIC instructions, and it is read as examine if closed instruction. Okay. Similarly, you also have your examine if open, that is your just opposite instruction. That means initially the symbol for that is 2 like this line, and this would be connected here, okay, crossed just like this. That means what will happen? Initially it would be closed, Okay, the moment you press the start button, then what will happen? It will open the circuit. Okay, and that means the initial condition is your on condition or your one position. Okay, or it is true, and the moment you press a start button, which is actually connected to this input, okay, then what would happen? This would become false or zero. Okay, or it would break the circuit. Fine. Now we will be concentrating on the output portion. Okay, so the second instruction is known as your output energize instruction or your OTE. Okay, so this is an output instruction. I told you yesterday in yesterday's class that all my input elements will be connected to the left hand side of your ladder logic diagram. Okay, that means if you talk about a particular rung, okay, then all the input instructions would be there to the left hand side of the rung, and to the right hand side of the rung, what you will be happening, you will be getting your all the output devices. Okay, so this is the symbol for a OTE device, that is output energize. Fine, this instructions turns on if the logic to the left of the OTE is true. That means if the logic to the left of the OTE, that is your input instruction here, okay, if this is true, only then your output will energize, okay, or turn on, otherwise it would remain in the off position. Fine. Now if there are multiple excises on the rung, okay, then all would have to be on for the rung to be true. Okay, just like your AND circuit. For example, if you have, say suppose there may be case where you have to switch on a motor when you have the input or from 3 push buttons. For example, when all 3 push buttons are true, or when all 3 push buttons are energized, only then your output you should get energized. So in that case, all these 3 excises, okay, for example, this would be excic for the first push button, this would be the excic for the second push button, and this would be the excic for the third push button. Okay, so when all these 3 conditions are true, only then your output will get energized. Okay, and hence this output will be connected to the bulb, for example, and these are the 3 push buttons. So when all these 3 push buttons are energized simultaneously, only then your output will energize. Fine. Now what if you have multiple OTs, okay, connected in parallel against a single input? Okay, so if there are multiple OTs on the run, then all would be turned on and off based on the run condition. That means if this condition is true, then all would get turned on. Okay, no matter how many OTs are connected to the same here. Right now we are in this figure, you can see only 2. If there are 3, 4 all connected in parallel, okay, then all would get switched on at the same time. You cannot connect 2 output devices in series. Why? Anyone? Why you can't connect these 2 output devices in series? Yes, the voltage will drop. Good. So just like your electrical circuit, okay, so the voltage will drop after 1. Okay, so again that would be making the circuit wrong. Okay, fine. So whatever outputs you have to energize together against a single output, they will all be connected in a series, and if this input is true, then all the outputs will energize, and if this input is false, all will get de-energized. Fine. Now the text above the XIC instruction or the OTE instruction is known as the address, and this address is associated with the instruction. Okay, for example, if you can see here, this is an XIC symbol. On top of that, a start button is written. Okay, that means you can have, actually you will be having multiple XICs in your ladder logic. It may start, or it may go up to the tune of some thousands of XICs. Similarly, you can have your motors or your output devices, OT devices, running into some few hundreds to few thousands. Now suppose this is one XIC instruction and this is one OT instruction. What does this XIC or which input does this XIC belong to, and which output OT instruction does this control? Okay, so you basically have an address, okay, of every XIC and OT, okay, elements that are present in the run of a ladder logic diagram, and there are different ways to assign an address. For example, here it is written a start button and a motor. Okay, so this is a very generic term to address, okay, a particular XIC or a OT. Why? Because see, this is only for our understanding. If there are one or two elements in the circuit, okay, for example, I have two input elements, say one is the start button and the other input element can be, say, suppose sensor 1, okay, and there are two output elements, one is, for example, say a motor and one is a bulb, okay. Then for your understanding you can write start button, sensor 1, bulb and motor, all these things, okay, in this. However, the PLCs, okay, they have to be they have to have a particular bit address or a particular word address to understand that particular input or a particular output. Fine. So here it is just a generic way of showing that these input or your XICs as well as your this output elements needs to have some address. Okay, how is the addressing done, that we will see at a later stage in today's lecture itself. Okay, so just I'm referring that these addresses is used by the PLC to tell exactly which input to read or which output to command, okay, depending upon your ladder logic. Okay, so that is why all these XICs and all these OTs, your output energized functions, need to have a address. Fine. Now say, since a PLC will be controlling real-time devices, okay, on the plant floor, it has to have some way of communicating to the correct devices. It is this actually statement says the same thing that I have actually just said it recently, just in my previous slide. So it says that because see, you will be having multiple number of inputs here, okay, in the PLC diagram here. Fine. So this is what is this XIC, okay, related to, or what is this OT related to, okay. So basically this has to, this actually XIC refers to a particular physical input connections, okay, that is actually controlling the that is coming from a plant floor, okay. And similarly this output is actually referring to a particular output element on the shop floor, okay. So that means these elements, okay, the physical input output elements are connected to this ladder logic diagrams, okay, through your input output addressing. Fine. So that means your all your physical input output elements, they are actually connected to your ladder diagram XICs and OTs through these addresses. Fine. Now see, you may have some input output addressing and you may also have another type of addressing. What is that addressing? That addressing is your data addressing. Okay. Now see, what is data addressing? We will see here. For example, say this is one input addressing here. Okay. So first let us just be more clear with the input output addressing. So in the previous example, if you see, this is a symbolic, okay, example of a symbolic input address, that is your start button. However, this XIC's exact address is written in this form. Okay. Now even this address depends upon PLCs to PLC. Okay. So if you are using an Allen Bradley make PLC, then there is a different way to address one input. Okay. If you are using a Siemens make PLC, you are going to have some other way of addressing one input. More or less the data, okay, that these addresses convey remains the same, only the format of the naming of these addresses, okay, they differ for a PLC of different make. Okay. So we will just try, okay, that the input addressing of any one of the PLCs. So this is basically an input output addressing of a physical input, and this is a output addressing of a physical output, that is the motor. Fine. So basically sometimes you write both ways, you give it a normal addressing also, and on top of that addressing you also give a generic name for your own understanding. For example, if you give this generic name, it is easy to understand. Okay, if suppose this is my input function, that is the XIC, and if I give only this one, okay, then what would happen? You have to search in this element. Okay, so I will be see this part, I think you will be understanding more better if I just draw the connections diagram here. Okay, so just give me 1 minute. Fine. So for a PLC, I told you we will be having a box in the between. even before drawing the ladder logic diagram, you first have to make the connection diagram. Okay, so this is a connection diagram here. Fine. So this is my PLC or the controller. Fine. This is my input module and this is my output module. Fine. In the input module, I will be having some connections. Fine. So I told you this input module, they either come in the configuration of 4, 8, 16, okay, where your physical input has to be connected. Say suppose here you are connecting one. A push button here. Okay, in the other one, you can connect, for example, a roller valve. Fine. So these are all plus 24-volt connections here. Fine. And then you will also be having your output elements connected. Fine. Say in your case, this one can be your one output element, this is your other output element, this is the third. In one case it can be a motor, this can be your say solenoid valve 1y1, fine, and this can be a say suppose lamp. Fine. So you can have multiple output also getting connected. Now these are all given a particular number. Okay, for example, I told you one digital input is represented by a 1 bit. So these are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 5, 6, 7, 8, depending upon how many types of or how many inputs you have here. Similarly, these outputs are given the value of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Fine. So this is your connection diagram. Fine. So that means whenever you are pressing this switch, this data from here, signal will flow through here and come to this 0th bit element. Okay. Now the PLC, this was the first part. Second, you also have to draw a PLC diagram. Fine. That is a ladder logic diagram. Fine. So the ladder logic diagram, I will have one XIC here and one OTE. Fine. Now see, in this case, if you see, there are two input elements here, isn't it? 1 and 2, and there are 3 output elements. Now this rung here, this first rung that is here that shows, it says that whenever this condition is true, okay, whenever this condition is true, then this will get triggered. Fine. But you should know that what is this XIC. Suppose if I am energizing this XIC, then this output will energize. But which output, which among these three will get energized? Okay. And when I am actually giving an instruction, XIC instruction to get closed, this XIC instruction, among these two, which XIC instruction is this? Because see, your ladder logic only says if this XIC is closed, okay, here, then your output will energize. But what is this input and what is this output? That means you have to give one addressing here for this input and one addressing here for this output. Okay. Now generally how is the addressing done? The addressing is done in this way. Fine. So just let us see. First you write just let me show you just a generic term, okay, of how this addressing is done here. Fine. So addressing is denoted by these letters. Fine. Now what is this? First one is your file type. File type. File type, it means that if it is an input, then you will denote it with a capital I, and if it is an output, then you will denote it with a O. Fine. Then this is your colon. It is known as your slot delimiter. Okay. That means after this colon, you will write this slot. Now, what is this slot? This actually shows your slot. When I talk about slot, what am I saying? Which type of slot? I told you in the PLCs, okay, there are multiple slots over which you can fill in. Okay, that means your input output module will come onto the slot. You will also be having your network interface module, then you will be having your communication part. All those things will be there. Fine. So generally your digital input and your digital output modules are built within the controller itself. Okay, and hence they are given 0 slot. Fine. So remember, the digital input and output are inbuilt. Okay, and hence they are given slot number 0. Fine. That means if you can just recall the diagram, this was my PLC. Okay, here was my power supply. Okay, then there was my controller here, then I had my input module here, again I had my another input module here, say, then you had your output module here, and then another output module here. In this way you actually extended or you just put on those different modules, inserted into the chassis, and then you got your multiple PLCs here. Okay, so most of the times it may happen that, okay, your digital input or your digital output module, they all form a different part of the PLC. They are not embedded within the controller. Okay, but most of the times they are within this system itself here. Okay, that means you have the controller here, their digital inputs and your digital output modules, they are located in this controller itself. Okay, and hence they are not given any slot. Okay, so this is the 0th slot where the controller is there. Then you have slot number 1, slot number 2, slot number 3, slot number 4, 5, 6, so on and so forth, depending upon how many slots you are actually going for the extension of the PLC. So here you will be having your slot number. Okay, the S actually denotes your slot number. Fine. So say since we will be working mainly with the digital part. Okay, that means we are going to have for our case only, we are going to work only for the we are only going to work with digital inputs and digital outputs. So in both the cases, our slot number would be 0. So here also we'll write 0, and here also we'll write 0. Okay, so after 0 you will be putting a dot, okay, which actually just separates this slot number. Second is the W denotes your word. What is this word? This is the memory space. I told you all digital input and output takes a single bit. Okay, and if your PLC is of 8-bit, okay, if your PLC is of 8-bit, then of course there will be 0 to 7 bit, okay, slot before you 0, that means there will be actually 8-bit to make a single word. If your PLC is a 16-bit, then again there will be a 16-bit to make a single word. Fine. So, and again all this word also start with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, depending upon whatever is your case. Okay, fine. And if you have your analog input and your analog output, I told you for each analog output you require how much memory? You require at least one word of memory to designate one analog input or one analog output. Okay, and in case of a digital input output, what will happen? Within one word, okay, that means in one word, if suppose it is a 16-bit of PLC, then within one word you can actually incorporate 16 digital inputs. Okay, and same in one word you can incorporate 16 digital output. Fine. So again the word also numbering starts with 0, 0 being a default. So that means if your PLC is a 16-bit PLC, that means the first 16 digital input, okay, they would all be fitted into a word, single word, okay, and that word would be 0 and then /0. This last B is your bit value, okay, and that bit value is actually shown here. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, say your one module has only 8 bits. That means your one module had only 8 inputs that could be made. After 8 you have to have another module Okay, so suppose you had total of 13 digital input that will be connected, and your module contained only, for example, 8 digital input. Okay, so more than 8 if you have to go, then you have to insert the next module and the numbering would again change. So similarly, so this is the first one here. Similarly, if I have to refer to the second input, what I would write? I would write it I colon 0 is my slot, because I told you all the default inputs are built in the same slot 0, then 0 word, then second 1. Fine. Similarly, it can go to I 0.0/2 for my third input. Okay, 0.0/3 for my fourth input, and then again I can go on like this /4. Okay, and then all the way up to 5, then 6, and then finally 7. Okay, now say it is my 8-bit PLC. Okay, my PLC is only 8-bit. That means now I have another digital input to connect, and I have suppose 9 digital or 10 digital inputs. So now what would change? I slot would remain the same. Suppose if you are using the same slot 0 dot, then your word would become 1/0, and then again 0.1/1. Fine, because see this they all constituted one word. Fine. Okay, because I told you digital input takes only 1 bit. Okay, and if it is an 8-bit PLC, you can actually incorporate 8 digital inputs in one word. After that, if there are more, then you have to change the word. You see, this is your this column, this is your words here, represented all by 0 word. Fine. So that means the moment your number of inputs exceeded the word limit, okay, then what you did, you actually switched to word number 1. Okay, and then again this will go up to how much? This you can go up to 1/7. Okay, after that, if you have more number of inputs, then what would happen? Again you have to start with the different word, 0.2/0. Fine. So this would actually determine your input addressing. Fine. Now say suppose if my digital inputs are not inbuilt. Okay, say I am inserting my digital input in the first slot here. Okay, first slot here. Then what would be this address? Suppose here, what would be this address? Refer to this and just try to name it. Since it is an output, what I can write? I colon, okay, slot number 1, isn't it? Then word 0, because see by default it will start with 0 word itself. Okay, and then /0. Fine. Is this clear to everyone? Fine, like this. Now let us again try to do the naming of the output. Say you have a one output. Okay, say this output that I drew here, this output module, it was connected to the third slot of PLC. Okay, now just try to do the addressing for this output here, this one by one. Just try to do the addressing for this. What you will be writing? O, okay, and then you will be putting colon, then you will be putting the slot number. What is the slot number of this module? 3. So you will be writing 3.0 would be your word address / what will come after that? 1. Very good. So this would be your output addressing for this. Okay, now this is the addressing. Okay, this particular addressing is what is to be written here. Where? In your PLC diagram here. Fine. So this is a PLC diagram. On top of this OTE, what you are going to write? Just let me draw this PLC diagram again. Okay. So I'll just try to draw the PLC diagram again. Fine. So say what is my condition here? Suppose if I press this switch, okay, then this solenoid valve 1Y1 should energize. Okay, this is my case. Fine. Then you just see what is the addressing for this. Say this input element is placed on the first slot. Okay, and this output module is placed on the third slot. Fine. And this my switch or my push button, it is actually placed in the 0th bit here, and this has been connected to the first bit here. Okay, now just try to do the addressing for that. What would be the addressing for this? I colon 1.0/0. Fine. Output would be what? O double colon. It is in the third slot. 0 is the word, and what is the bit number? 2, isn't it? If you just see here, I had connected to the first bit 1. If you can see here 1, so we will just go ahead with this and write this to be as 1. Okay. So this is your addressing here. Okay, exact addressing. And if you can just see here, okay, so there are two type of addressing. One is the example of base input addressing. So base input addressing is here, which was what you was doing right now, and on top of that, this is the example for symbolic input address. Okay, so the symbolic input address is just for better understanding of your program. Okay, so what would be the symbolic addressing here? If I talk about this, I will write this is my switch S1 and this is my solenoid valve 1Y. Okay, this is optional. This part is optional, even this part is optional. Okay, both are optional. What the PLC would understand? The PLC would actually understand only this part, because that is required for the PLC to just execute. Okay, this is required. Fine. Okay, anyone having any issue in this part, in this portion? See, this is very important. Until you do not learn this. See, first of all, if you talk about the PLCs, what I have to do, you have to identify the components. Okay, the number of input components, the number of output components. Once you identify, then you have to segregate them. Okay, as to what are the digital components on this, what are the digital input, what are the analog input. Fine. Similarly, from the output portion, you have to segregate them, what are the digital output and what are the analog output. Fine. So once that is there, then what you have to do, you have to make the connection, physical connection of all the input, okay, elements to the input module here, and then again all the output elements to the output module here. Okay, once you do this, then depending upon all these bit addresses here, in case of a digital input, these are the bit addresses. These addressing you have to use here further in the PLC diagram to draw. For example, this is only one rung. Second rung could be what? If you see, so again you can have a second rung here. Okay, fine. So second rung says that if my input is there, that input was again a roller valve there. Fine. Okay, so whenever the roller valve is energized, then again my output element they both should get energized simultaneously. Fine. So this is your rung. Fine. Similarly, if you have more number of inputs, they will all end up like this. Suppose this is there. Okay, third, you may have a fourth rung which says, okay, one of will be this. Then second, you can also have your rung in parallel. Okay, making an OR circuit for this output, so on and so forth. And for all these things, you have to give your input addressing here, input addressing, your output addressing will contain in this portion. Fine. Once you make this program, then you have to download this program into the PLCs, and then your entire system would start to work. Fine. See, word is there, na? So you have words and you have your bits. Fine. Okay. So basically, if the PLC that is there, okay, if it is a 8-bit PLC, you can have in this configuration, the PLC may be a 16-bit PLC, okay, maybe a 32-bit PLC. I told you bit depends upon what is the resolution and all those things of this. Okay, you have different bit of PLC. Now, if there will be an 8-bit PLC, I told you should remember one thing: all your digital input and output requires how much space? 1 bit of space. And all your analog input output requires 1 word of space. Fine. Okay. Now see, 1 word would actually be equal to the different bit of the PLC that you are using. If you are using a 8-bit, then 1 word would actually have 8-bit in it. 1 word will have 8-bit. Fine. Okay. Now see, since all the bit also starts with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Similarly, all your words also start with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now say you have your word 0 or the 0th word. Okay. Now 0th word, how many memories are there here? If it is a 8-bit PLC, it will have 8 bits. Fine. That means you can actually connect how many digital inputs? Since the memory required for one digital input output is 1 bit. That means you can connect how many digital inputs for one word of space for 8-bit PLC? You can connect 8 with the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then again 5, 6, and 7. Okay. So all these are bit values. Against each bit value, you can actually connect 1 digital input. 1 digital. Similarly, against this, you can connect 1 digital input. Against this 1, 1, 1. So you can connect 8. Fine. Now suppose if there are more digital inputs, then what would happen? More than 8. And if it is an 8-bit PLC, now it would see the memory will now require more. Hence, it would now jump to the first word. That means this was all for a word 0. Okay. Now again you have to jump to the word 1. Okay. Again in this word 1, there will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fine. That is, you can connect 8 more digital inputs to it. Fine. Again, if it is more than 16, then again you have to go for another word of space, that will word 2. Here again you will continue with the further. Fine. Now this is only the case of a 8-bit. Had it been a 16-bit PLC, then what would happen? Then what would happen? Then this entire, this word 0 and word 1, they would all come under the category of word 0. Okay. and this, okay, this all portion bit would change to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. Fine. So all this 15 will have. That's mean in that case, okay, what would be your input addressing? Suppose if it is a 16-bit system you are using, so you can write as I colon 0 word point, okay, slot 0, 0 slash 10. If suppose you are trying to do this, okay, using a 16-bit PLC. Now say you were trying to, you had an 8-bit PLC and then you had again a 10 digital output connection, then again 8 would come here, 9 and 10 would fall in this category, isn't it? Then you would be writing as I colon 0.1 slash 1. Is it okay now? Did you understand? So both can be a way of your addressing. It depends upon what type of PLCs you have, how many bits are there, your word space and all those things. Fine. It can be, the module can be lesser than that, because see, if the module is higher, I told, but the processing power would not be there, na? So it can have a either equivalent to that or lower to that. Yeah, then it would be sufficient. If it's higher, then it will be of this ambiguity. Okay, it can be either equivalent or lower to that. See, I can actually, I could go all the way to analog, but why I am avoiding analog is because we will not be doing circuit diagrams for analog, right? Otherwise, see, the addressing for the analog would be, okay, just let me brush up this. If you, yeah, because in that you will be having word value, no? So if you, where is that? Yeah, if you just follow this convention here, okay, then what it will be? Suppose you are going to have an output module, okay, say suppose output connection, I will write O, okay, say this is my this connection here 3, okay, so here I have connected a output and this is a proportional solenoid, right? Now proportional solenoid is an output, okay, then we'll see, we'll try to follow the same convention. This output module is fixed in which slot? Third slot, okay. So what is going to come here after O? Slot number. So what is the slot number? 3, right? Then you will be putting a dot. What is the word? Because see, an analog requires how many? Does it require bit? No. So it requires only word. That means 3.3 and that would be sufficient. You will not be putting any value like slash and this slash portion will not come. This would not come. The addressing would end here like this. That means it says it is an output, okay, then that output is placed in the third slot, okay, and in the third slot it is using word number 3, right? Those bit will not come here because I told you every analog requires how much? If suppose one analog input requires how many types, what is the memory required? It requires one word of space, isn't it? It does not require any bit. If you see here, this portion here, this is what? Word slash bit value, isn't it? So that means when for digital case you are actually have to divide every word into some number of bits. For example, 0/0, 0/1, up to that word is not complete, only then you can go to the next word again 1/0, 1/1 like this. Okay, So but if there is an analog input and analog output, no bit value will be here. The addressing would end only with the word value up till here, this much. Okay. Yeah, of course, see, don't get confused here. One thing, you cannot place analog here directly. Why? Because this module, if suppose I have connected 3 digital outputs here, that means this module is what? A digital module. That means it actually requires bit. Okay, all these are bit values here. So in that I cannot connect my analog. Actually, I need to have a separate module. Okay, in that every connection will occupy 1 watt of space, right? So this was just only one example that I showed you, that if I connect this. Yes, go ahead. You were asking me something, someone. Yeah, yeah. So that is what I thought, that when you had asked question, I thought you will be asking the next question to be that. You cannot just jumble up the modules. Input module will be different. Output module, analog module will be different. Your digital module will be different. In analog, you will be having that ADC converter and DAC and all those things. Okay. Fine. So I think we'll stop here.